Welcome to part 51 of Was I in a Cult? Quick recap. So, where I left off was that my grandfather was trying to get me to sign a paper for an application for SSI so that I could go on disability, which I didn't want to sign because I said I'm not disabled and I can work. I was still highly medicated at the time, so I guess he finally started to agree with them lowering the doses of my medication so that I could actually function and work. So shortly after that, at some point in time, my grandpa was talking to my neighbor and saying that I was looking for work, and I guess she said that I could apply at her job because they were hiring, and I did, and I ended up getting the job. But because my grandpa wasn't letting me drive my car, I had to carpool in to work with the neighbor. We weren't like the best of friends, and I didn't really like the idea of having to depend on someone else to give me a ride, so I was determined to finally be able to get off this medication and get my car back. I liked having my independence. I didn't like having to depend on someone else for a ride anywhere. Like I said, I knew that once I got off this medication that I would actually be myself again. And so when it got to like the lowest dose, I just continued to lower my dose even more and eventually got completely off of the medication. They thought I was still on a very low dose, but I was not, because even when I was on the very low minimum dose, I still felt a little zoned out and I didn't feel like myself. And because I never needed to be on the medication in the first place, I knew that I didn't need it and that it was fine to come off of it. So I started working, I started getting to know some of the other people at work, and it was finally where I could be myself and I could be free, and I didn't have to just only associate with my grandparents at home. It was actually nice to finally talk to someone outside of the church that just had, different perspectives and different viewpoints other than what my church had. At this time, I was still struggling with my identity, and I was trying to be like the best Christian and still go to church, but I was also like, my true identity was just kind of like coming out little by little, and I knew that I liked girls. I knew that I didn't like guys, and I knew that I was a lesbian, and I was still trying to suppress that and repress those feelings and just try to like live my life according to how I assumed God wanted me to live it. I think around that time I also got in touch with some of my old friends that I hadn't seen in a long time, and I remember actually running into one of my best friends from high school that I hadn't seen since I was like 15 years old, because her mom wasn't allowing us to see each other because we got caught sneaking out of her house. And that was super devastating for me because she was like one of my best friends, and I saw her again and she had a new best friend and everything. And I remember going out with them one day and they were like, let's all go out and hang out and stuff. And when we went out, her best friend was very affectionate, and I felt myself like wanting to kiss her. And I was like, this is not good. And I remember she got really close to me at one point in time, and I think she was wanting to kiss me too. But I was like, no, I'm a Christian. Like, I can't do this. This had to have been like right after I turned 21. I think that was the time frame. I think it was like I finally realized that I was 21 and I was legal to go out to a bar and drink if I wanted to. And that hadn't been an option because I couldn't drink with this medication. But now that I was no longer on it, I could actually have a good time. And But I never really wanted to drink much anyways, but I did like having a good time and dancing and hanging out at a club and stuff like that. And I think I did go with a couple of the girls from work also. And we had some fun too, but when we went out, we were going to straight bars and I'm like, this is not what I want. Like, I don't want to meet guys. Like, they wanted to go out and meet guys and I was like, I want to meet girls. And then I was going through the whole feeling guilty because I went out and partied with my friends. And then I was like, no, I need to get back to church. I need to start going back to church and doing the right thing because I'm not doing the right thing. Like, I was so conflicted in my soul because I wanted to serve God and live for God. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm 21, I'm legal, and I can actually party legally now. So I remember going to church, hearing messages and like getting convicted because I went out and I partied. And like one time I remember when I went out with the girls from work and I got my car broken into and they stole my duffel bag, and I was like automatically thinking that I was being punished by God, because I was going out and drinking and partying and dancing. You know what I mean? Like it was bad because I was a Christian. I wasn't really supposed to be doing that. So I remember really assessing my life and situation and thinking, you know what, I just need to stop going out and stop partying, and I need to just go back to church. And I mean, not that I had ever like left the church completely, but I just wasn't really committed anymore. And I was just like, I need to do something. Like, I miss evangelism. I need to start evangelizing again and getting back out there, going to the streets and witnessing. And I just need to get back in ministry. But like at church, I felt like they were still kind of like not really allowing me to get into ministry because I was like, supposedly I had backslidden when I never did backslide yet, and they had falsely accused me of using drugs. So it was going around the church that I was, I had backslidden and fallen back into using drugs, which was never the case. But you can't squash those rumors. Like, they're just there and you can't stop them. So then I just remember I decided that I was going to go pick up some flyers from church and I was just going to start witnessing on my own. And, like I was going to just throw myself back into serving the Lord, praying and reading as much as I could and witnessing. And that was like, I just wanted that life back. And so I got a bunch of flyers and started taking them to pass them around wherever I went. Like whenever I went in the car to go somewhere, I would take flyers with me and give it to people. I remember struggling so much. Like, I would go out and I would see women or girls. I mean, I was 21, so I guess women. I would see women and I was just like, oh no, I'm having those feelings again. And then it was like all the guilt and all the shame associated with like being attracted to another female would just wash over me, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I need to go pray, I need to read my Bible more, I need to go to church more. It was like anything just to repress those feelings, but they never went away. Growing up in my neighborhood, we didn't really see many people that were gay, and like at that time I didn't know what like gay radar was or anything like that, and so I didn't know how to find actual people that were lesbian or gay. And I just remember that when I was going to the prison ministry, I saw a bunch of women that were like butch, so they kind of looked like dudes, and then that's how I knew they were gay. And I remember seeing one of those gay butch girls at the dollar store. So I decided to give her a flyer and invite her to church. Unfortunately, Cindy was on heroin. Since my church told us that our vision and mission was to reach out to drug addicts and alcoholics, it became my vision and mission to save Cindy. But I didn't think I would fall in love with her. At that time, I was literally just going out and evangelizing and trying to help people. She was homeless, her mom was a Christian, and wouldn't let her live there because she was gay.